had a very frustrating weekend this weekend, just trying to put together something, for the business, and hitting a wall every single time and wondering why it wasn't working. I was trying to form an LLC, and then I was like, why every time I tried, something would happen, or I'd learn something, or they change the prices. They'll say it's one price and then they'll add all this on. I did that over the weekend, and then I watched a video that said, before you form an LLC, you should know this. And it was about a new law that had come out. Well, it's where if you don't declare it and you don't tell, you'll be charged $500 a day until you do that. And I was like, holy crap. Maybe that's the reason. It is a lot. It can really add up. So I was like, maybe I need to sit on this. Maybe I need to think about this. Maybe I'm going to do it as doing business as might be easier. And I am so glad that it didn't jump in, with part of the information. So I think that sort of taught me a big lesson as well. That I need to understand that if there's resistance, if it's not happening straight away, if it's not happening easily, there is a reason for that to happen. And it could be life just screwing me over, but you like to think it isn't.
I feel like it's so difficult to balance, to take those signs, because I don't want to take those signs as or maybe I'm on the wrong path, or like I'm doing something wrong. Because, last few weeks was very challenging me as a restaurant manager, and I was facing a lot of obstacles. But if I'm going to take every single incident as a sign, and if I'm going to take it as, universe is like telling me like I'm on the wrong path, I won't be able to go forward. But instead of doing that, like always think I could learn from this experience and keep going.
Mm-hmm. And I think that we get that gut feeling. I think that if we truly will listen to our intuition and our gut, then we will know, okay, I know I have to be uncomfortable to grow. There's just no other way around it. I really do not. Children, when they're born, are uncomfortable. They teethe, they have belly aches. They're not always comfortable. And as they're growing, and sometimes they have growing pains literally in their legs and their bones. So I totally agree with you on that, because if we all took it as, I'm not supposed to be doing this, then we would not get anything accomplished. However, common sense mixed with your gut, mixed with your intuition, lets you
That's
know.
the thing,
Right. So if you're sitting here trying to perfect breaking into a safe in the vault of the bank and it's just not working out for you, you might want to rethink that, but I think, and my mom's always went back to this in my whole life, but just get a legal pad and write pros and cons. Why should I be doing this? And what are the obstacles and why shouldn't I be doing it? And if your pros outweigh your cons, then you're on the right track. And that is just a simple black and white thing that I've used throughout my life, and don't always follow it, but it is usually always right if you do the pros and cons.
To me, trying to stay most present, I think it's an evolution, like we've talked before. Like, we're at different stages in our journeys, and the stage I'm at now is much more about trying not to judge what's in front of us. So we're used to concluding that when it starts raining the day you wanted to start training for the marathon, we call that a sign that we shouldn't do something, right? Like it's like a negative or a positive sign, and that's also a judgment. So if we aren't concluding and we're living in the present, we may not be running that day, but it may be for a whole bunch of reasons why it is either delayed because we're still supposed to run the marathon, why there's something else that needs attending, perhaps. Maybe we don't even realize we're coming down with something and we need to rest. Like, we have no idea if we stay in the space of presence. It's that we have no idea or conclusions. Therefore, there is no there is no right, wrong, good, bad. This is where this is a sign of stopping or going. The next indicated step is to go outside and start moving my legs. It's raining. I can't do that. So then I come back inside and the next thing will show itself, whatever that is, rather than jumping into conclusion. I think that's the game of our mind, always thinking it knows what's happening. And that's the futuristic thinking.
Yes.
We talk about how everything's a recording from the past, so we don't have to keep dragging that forward into the present. But the future thinking is that thing that we're talking about right now, kind of the nuance of, oh, this means I probably shouldn't run that marathon. I knew it. I don't know why I bothered wasting my time in getting those new running shoes. And like stopping the process when the strength was coming from in a different way for that day.
But have you ever looked back in those moments and you couldn't run, it was raining or whatever, and right where you would have been running, right where you would have crossed the street or whatever, is a huge wreck and people are killed and you were not. I found myself so many times like missing a plane, or well, not so many times, but enough to count. Missing a plane or having to cancel a trip and then the plane go down, or like I had a friend that was killed in a private. Just things like that is amazing to me, and I guess that's just where I am in my life right now. Instead of looking at, oh, woe is me, this has happened, I've lived through this, I've lived through that, look at everything I was protected from.
Right.
Like, it is amazing if you start thinking back on all the things you were protected from. Furzana, you went through so much with your husband's death and then your son having a heart issue right behind that. But look at what you were protected from in that. Like, your son got well, so much. Yes, a lot of bad things did happen, but so did a lot of good. And that's just where I'm trying to focus my mind in the positive state of a lot of things have happened, but so many wonderful things that I may never know until I'm in heaven and he's like, hey, you remember how stupid you were that one day and I saved you from that too. Like, I've done some things that I look back and I thank God, especially, even at an early age in life, I would kind of know if this was not like my crew or people that I needed to associate with. And I just remember in the 7th grade, my home ec teacher called me after class and she said, I just want you to know that the girl that you started hanging around with is not somebody you should be hanging around with. I'm not going to go into any details about it. But as a 7th grader, I could have taken that information and been like, she's trying to run my business or yada, yada. But there's no telling what that one conversation that was kept in confidence saved me from. And it made me think, this teacher really believes in me enough to hold me back after class and tell me that I could go down the wrong road with this person. I probably need to make a detour here. And she was right. She was right. The girl was just, on a bad, dark road. But I think those are just little whispers from heaven. And I think that God uses so many people to talk to us every day, and people that you wouldn't even expect would be, he can use anybody. He can use anybody, and he does oftentimes the least person that you expect, like with these coincidences and things like that. So,
Well, every encounter you have, really, you know, there's a reason behind it. We don't always know it. And we always say that, some people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, right? So we don't always know the reasons. But also, I mean, going back to it doesn't, the struggles can also be there to strengthen that muscle, right? And also to see how much we really want that thing.
Yeah.
Like, is it
And
worth the struggle? If it is, you'll keep plowing through.
absolutely. And to give us a servient heart. Like, we may not need the thing, but that's like I just did a reel the other day, because I've always spent so much time wondering, what is my purpose? God, please tell me what my purpose is. And I finally realized my purpose may just be to say something someone else needs. It may not even be about me. It may be about them and their purpose. So yeah, I just think it's sweet when we can tune in and just turn out all of the background noise.
But I have a very sweet story to share, actually, when we talk about what we say. And well, we all agree our purpose here is to serve others, but ultimately I think it's to serve ourselves, to sort of like be our best, the version of ourselves, but really is about self-love. But and this is quite funny. I was in university and I had a friend, and he was like really sort of crazy about this girl, and she was playing pool with this other guy who was very nice looking, And my friend said to me, "Oh, I see that girl." And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, I really like her." And I was like, "I know." I was thinking, I know. And he goes, "But you see that guy over there?" I go, "Yeah." He said he really likes her, and he's my friend. And he was like, "I don't have any chance. I have no chance with her." He was funny. He was sweet. He was nice looking, but not as, not as hot as the other guy, as you would say. And what do we do? What do we do as friends, right? We build you build your friend up. So I looked at him. I said, "Do you know what? You're just as nice looking as him, right? And you're most probably funnier. You're hilarious. You've got a great personality. You can get her. Don't be silly. Go for it. Just go for it." Then in my mind, I was like, poor guy. I don't know if it's going to work out, right? So, you have to give it a shot, right? You have to give it a shot. I sort of built his ego up and sort of sent him, to whatever was going to happen to his fate. But fast forward years later, I'm in a shop called W.H. Smith in England, and I'm looking for this shop for this book and things, and I hear this voice, and it says Foots, which was my nickname. And I was like, "Oh my God," because nobody calls me Foots anymore. I'm a grown woman. I'm married. I've got kids. I turn around, and this pretty young thing, and she's looking at me. She's beaming. And I go, "Hi." And she goes, "You don't remember me, do you?" And I said, "I'm so sorry. No, I don't." She said that many years ago in university, you convinced this guy to come and talk to me. And I went, "Oh, yes, I did." And she goes, "And now we're married and we have 3 kids."
Wow.
Aww.
And I was like, holy that was not the outcome I was expecting. But I'm so glad I did it. And so you don't know your purpose, right? Or how your words can impact another human being. So there is be careful what you
That's
say.
beautiful. Yes, yes,
Definitely.
yes.
But it was
Full story.
so lovely. And then I was like, "Oh my God, am I a matchmaker?" No, I'm really not. But it was so nice, because I totally forgot about that, to be honest. And I went on with my life. And I didn't see him after I left university. I am so blown away that something that I said could have impacted someone, and that was the outcome. So you never know what your purpose is, and how, as you say, God uses you.
Yeah.
You're just an instrument, aren't you, for something else.
There's so much power in our words.
Right.
And I think that's probably the most underestimated power that we have is our verbiage, because we have the power to kill and destroy with our words and put people in such a bad state emotionally, mentally, spiritually. I think it's a very huge, huge, huge responsibility to watch our words and to watch what we speak over a person or what we speak into a person's life is very, very, very serious business. I really believe that.
It can also be very simple, like a hello to someone who's not
Yeah.
used to
Oh,
being
yeah.
noticed, or somebody
Yeah.
says, hello, how you doing?
Oh,
As you're
and
walking
that's,
past them.
yes.
And that's
And
it,
I
a
love to
smile.
do that.
Yeah.
I just mean like if we lose our temper or if we are judgmental or, so many things that we can get caught up in life, those words, and I think that's one of the things that I've always wished I didn't have was the ability to say things that I really don't mean, or the
Right.
ability to say something that really does hurt a person. And you can't suck it up like vegetable soup. Once it's out there, it's out there.
That's so funny you say that. My husband, sometimes you want to argue. You just need an argument. But my
Right.
husband would never argue. And one day I got a little bit annoyed and I said, why don't you just, if you're a little bit, say something to me. And he said, no, because once the words come out, you can never take them back.
And that's
And
just true.
and it was, so he would, either step away or, just not talk to me for a day or so. But
That
he
takes
just,
so much more
yeah.
tenacity than just spilling the tea.
Yeah,
Like
sometimes I
I'm
just wanted an
willing.
argument, though,
Oh,
Victoria. Sometimes.
yeah, I feel you. I understand. But the thing is, sometimes it's not just about that argument, but we need to bottom line that. I could go on about that forever. So we'll get back to our subject at hand.
Oh, wow.
Well, when I'm working at a restaurant, I meet hundreds of people, right? And it's so funny, like people always like, is it called like fight and fright mode?
Yes.
Always. I think I talked about this before, but like, people are ready to fight. So I think my job there is just always try to be happy and smile and try to make their day better.
You show
Because
them
Yeah.
I
what
cannot,
kindness is.
yeah,
Yeah.
engage in those vibes. Yeah, and they don't expect, us, hospitality workers to provide some human touch, So just Furzana said, just say, how are you? Or having a little conversation that would bright up somebody's day.
Right.
And that's so important because that you may be the only person that actually communicates with the person on a daily. Like they may not talk to anybody else that day that has a kind word for them. And I think that's so important to let somebody know, hey, I see you. I want to know about you. I'm curious. Are you okay? Are you having a good day? And and I guess it's a pet peeve of mine because if I do go in a restaurant and they don't speak, I'm always going to say, I'm so sorry you're having a bad day. Like, especially if I've talked to you 500 times, I'm going to let you know I feel you and I see you. Because I think people need to be held accountable. And I think that's for me, one of the kindest ways is like, wow, I'm sorry you're not having a good day. Did you not want to go to work today? Or, you're not feeling well? And then they'll be like, oh, no, I'm fine. Like, but there again, they're not in the present moment. They're probably at home thinking about the child they may have screamed at that morning.
Right.
We don't know. That is the thing. We don't know what anybody's facing. Just like when we hear of the school shootings, my first prayer is always, I hope those kids had a good day with their mother. I hope that they had a good morning with their family. Because can you imagine that the guilt of that would kill you, knowing that you had screamed at your kids, get out the door, you didn't have time for breakfast, And then there's a school shooting that day.
We will never know like what happens behind anybody.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know. Well, for example, here they just added onto the mall, and the architect that was overseeing the job fell from the roof inside the mall all the way down and just was gone like that quick in front of a crowd of people. And can you imagine the phone call that his wife got? I mean, she told him goodbye that morning, and your husband is no longer with us. Death is not always cancer. It's not always illness. It's not always a heart attack or a stroke. Sometimes it is a freak accident or a car accident or whatever. And so I just, at this season in my life, and I always say I'm in the last quarter of this game, I just want to go out being kind and, being known as someone that would love you where you are and for who you are in that moment. It also teaches people to learn that everything is not always about that situation. There are bigger pictures than your situation. There are bigger things going on in the background than just like when we first started filming, that, sometimes all these things that look so simple are not. There's cameramen running around. There's, sound people in the background. There's, people making coffee, whatever. But all these things are going on, and all we see is the narrow-minded view or the narrow view that we have of the computer screen. So we really don't know what all it took to make that happen. And so when we look at a person and they seem to have it all together or they seem broken, whatever it is, we don't know what it took to get them there. We don't know their story. And I love coaching because of that. I love coaching because we can help them reach so deep within their soul that there's a spot they didn't know that even existed, that has all of this stuff, all of this pain, all of this baggage that they're carrying around rent-free that shouldn't even be there.
Victoria, I don't know what you're doing with the cameramen and the coffee making. Are you filming something over there?
No,
Nobody told us we took that. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I
She's a movie
wish.
star in
I wish.
Guatemala.
Yeah, right.
That's why you look so beautiful all the time, Victoria.
She's got a movie going on in our house.
And so my daughter sent me a screenshot, and I'm in my pajamas lying on the bed with my phone, and she's like, "Mom, did you mean to post this?" Of course I did not mean to post that. That used to would have mortified me. But I was like, whatever, if they can't get over it, then they can't get over it.
This every Wednesday recording is helping me a lot to keep my room very clean. Because otherwise, you see everything behind the...
Ooh, that would be interesting, an insight into Tadao's everyday life.
That's not really interesting. Let's try not to show that way.
Thank you so much for watching AI Breakout, where our AI stands for authentic individuals. Please like and follow, and we love you, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.